Chase Young. Oh yeah. Oh. Let's look at this. Y'all want a breakdown on a play? All right, I'll give y'all a breakdown on a play. Look at this left tackle who is a look. This is oh man. I will say this about the state of the offensive line in football, because in my opinion, the state of the offensive line has gotten worse consistently over the last 4 years. Now, let's look at number 76, who's at the bottom of the screen at the left tackle position. You see his right arm where he's giving presence right here to this right guard? You don't need that. Why? Because this guy was Defensive Rookie of the Year. You are on your own, guard. You're on your own. I'm not even looking. I don't even give a damn what they do. I'm not helping you because this is the guy that I need to be blocking the entire time I'm out here, and I'm not paying attention to anyone else. Now, with that being said, if you're looking at his feet and his set, first I would say your head should be facing the guy you're about to block. Everybody knows it's a pass. This is still the Patriots. You're not running the ball here. Y'all don't even have a tight end in. Or you do, but he's offset. He's in a slot. No, I'm not helping the guard. And I would even be as so much to be like, hey, tight end, right here, you need to chip him on your way into your route. Get something on him to slow him down just a tad bit so that I can be ready to take on him as soon as he comes off of that chip. But if we're looking at the play and we're looking at it unfold, I think that that's too far with his first kick, because look at how his knee almost, his right leg almost straightens right here. That means he's going to have a wide base, a really wide base, which means you have no balance, which means it will only take one move to get your feet to stop because you don't have balance and you have to reset both of your feet so that they're under you. He is too extended already, which isn't the reason why he gets beat, but he will be beat because his feet will have to stop in order for him to get balance. But he is on a good track right here. He's on a good track. Get your hand off that guard. Now, right here, look at his legs. He's standing up. He is standing up. That is the absolute worst thing to do when you're going against an edge rusher, is to stand up almost vertical. And now look at this. His hip is open. His toe is pointed to the sideline instead of being pointed at the defender up the field. So what does this mean that his hip is open right here? His hip is open. That means that he can just take a straight line through it without any resistance. There will be no resistance. The revolution will be televised. There will be no resistance here. With this open hip, his chest is now turning towards the sideline. These are all bad techniques. These are things that you don't do, and these are things that you won't see the Pro Bowl offensive tackles. This is something that they'll rarely do. Tyron Smith, watch him when he pass sets. He rarely opens his hip before he makes contact. Opening your hip is almost a death sentence for an offensive lineman, especially a left tackle, especially when you're going up against a skilled pass rusher. And that's what's about to happen to this cat. So even with that, I look at this, and yes, I'm looking at it in a frame-by-frame look. But even with that, look, this is completely out of whack. Your feet should never be like this at tackle. Look at the right tackle at the top of the screen. Even him, look at, what is this? Why are you kicking so far back? That is not that's not good technique. You're stacking your legs, which makes you narrow, which makes you easy to push. But even him, he sees this guy, he draws a line right here, and he gets his hands up, he squares his body, and he stops penetration. Even though his punch kind of collapses on itself, he gets himself in a good position, and really, and this is a mess up by the defense. This is a mental error for these two guys. This is a mental error. They will be graded with a mental error here because never do two defensive players end up in the same gap unless somebody fucked up. This guy's responsibility right now as the right tackle is literally to block 3 people. He has to sit on this guy as long as he possibly can, and late he will try to save the block for these two guys because he's in a bad situation because they messed up. They messed up. And I think it's because it looks to me like this guy is manned up on the running back, but the running back has responsibility for one of these two. So when this guy's coming on really, if he's coming inside, he should be going outside, and he should be floating over the top to cover him in case he scats out late. So here, this is exactly what you want from your tackle. He recognized it was an inside move. He squared his feet. He literally redirected to the line of scrimmage, and he got his hands on the guy before the guy could even actually really do anything. And he nullified that rush. And then the running back picked up who he was supposed to pick up. So you have 2 for 2. And if he can late, this is always a bonus. This is always a bonus. If he can late, he can ping pong back. And sometimes a good running back who knows blocking, a good running back will react to this. This guy will actually go and block him and bounce the running back off to block him. That is graduate level blocking. That is PhD level blocking. And that happens every so often, you'll see that from good offensive lines who are in sync with their running backs. They actually understand that if they get overflow, you hold as late as you can on your initial, keep them from penetrating, and then you can, this is called a bounce back. Bounce back to him, and he'll bounce back to whoever the edge guy is over here. But let's go back down to this mess right here. But I mean, I can look at this entire offensive line, and I can tell you what's going on with every single player and how it works out in real football time. So here, with this right tackle, 76, his whole body is turned to the sideline. Mistake, bad, mental error, not even mental error, that's just bad technique, bad kick. When we get into his technique, his feet are a mess. Look at how close his feet are right here together. When in his kick slide, that's not good. He opens his hip on his literal, let's see, by his third kick step, he has opened his hips and given the defensive end and this is a defensive end who was very good, but not elite. Because looking at what he does here, even as a good defensive end as he is, he should have stoned him on this play. Stoned him. His chest is wide open, the defensive end. Chest is wide open. His arms are wide. His chest is open. This guy should have literally shotgun blasted him in the chest like a boxer would with a jab and snatched his chest plate and stifled him right there. Sit his hips down and stifle him because he doesn't actually use a pass rush move that is really useful here. He's rushing at you with his chest wide open. He tries to lead into you with his inside arm. That's an automatic karate chop. As soon as he touches you here, you smack it down and you grab it. He literally just ran at you. He didn't even get his right arm on you very cleanly at all. And you have his entire chest. Look at this arm. This arm is wide. This one is wide over here on the top, at the top of his shoulder pad. His entire chest region is open. And you have both hands, you have not even really made contact with your hands yet against him. You should be shotgunning him in the chest and then run him up the field. You actually won't even have to run him up the field. If you shotgun blast him in the chest with your two hands, he will widen this way, and then he'll stop and retrace because he's too deep and he can't get to him because he will step up. But what does he do? He literally does nothing. He just completely loses him. And then again, like I said, you're turned to the sideline. You're turned to the sideline. Look at his legs. He has no kick slide. He has no real balance because he's shuffling. He's lateral now. He doesn't have anything to produce power from. Nothing. He has no way to produce any power whatsoever to stop this guy's momentum, and he's not even giving you a pass rush move. He's not even giving you a pass rush move. So, with that being said, a good left tackle will shut this pass rush down in a freaking heartbeat because he did it slow and he did it late. He turned his hips late. Right there, he turns his hips. I mean, even if he turned his hips, a good tackle at this point, because at this point for this tackle, he's beat. He was beat right here. He was beat when he did that. When he opened that hip up, he was beat. But here he goes. He turns his hip. A good tackle will use this arm, put it on that hip, and will, for the livelihood that he hopes to earn, he will run his legs as hard as he can with his hand on that hip to try and spin him out or to push him past, just barely, the quarterback. This is terrible. He has nothing here. There's no way that you'll ever win in the NFL if you're pass protecting like this against anybody.